Plutz. Good Plutz. Do you want your dog to stop nipping and biting? Well, today I'm going to teach you how to do just that. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can get our weekly training videos. Give us a like and share this video with a friend you think would benefit from it. So early on in our dog's training, we teach them a command called leave it. And today I'm going to show you how we teach it and kind of how we use it in our daily lives. So right now, our setting is we're out on our training field. Most of my dogs have been told they're free to run, so they're going to run around probably. They may play and tussle with each other. You may hear a little barking in the background. And we are going to work with this little male Malinois who's about 12 weeks old, and I'm going to show you how we work leave it. Now he's had a little bit of this training already, but he's still learning it, he's still working it, so you should be able to have a pretty decent demonstration of it. And if this sounds interesting to you, if this is something you really want to learn, go ahead and comment below, type in no nip, and then tell me what your specific problems are. Tell me the problems that you anticipate possibly having down the road, what you've done to fix them, and if it's worked or not. Okay, so we use a command called leave it. We start introducing it when they're very young. Oftentimes we introduce it even before we start doing basic obedience like sit and plutz and wait and let's go. Because typically the nipping, the lunging after children, the nipping at other dogs, typically that's the first real problem we have, especially when we're working these little working Malinois, Dutch Shepherds and German Shepherds. But if you have a high energy dog, if you have a puppy, they are probably nipping and biting, and it's probably something you're gonna wanna get under control pretty soon. In fact, you see him wanting to nip at the dogs as they're moving freely around. So here's how we introduce leave it. First of all, you don't have to use that exact command. If you have some other command you want to use, that's fine. But that's the command I use, so if you're using a different command, just integrate your command in as we go through this. So one of the first things we start doing is the little pups typically really like to play. Now this little guy's been running around here in the hot sun, trying to get under the shade and in the digging holes so he can get to the cool dirt, going over to the pool. You can see he's a little wet, so he may be a little less rambunctious than he typically is at home, but I want you to just kind of see how we start to introduce this. So first of all, you're gonna need a lead or leash of some kind. You see he's putting his teeth on that there. And you're gonna need a prong collar, okay? Now you can use, for this command, you could probably use almost any kind of correction you want. Some people swat the dogs on the nose. If you're trying to train or you think you may ever want to train a dog to be a protection dog, I wouldn't encourage you to be swatting their nose like this. This is makes the dog hand shy a lot of times. So you wanna be aware of that. If you want to use some kind of other correction, even on a flat, bumping a flat hard enough will usually get a result. But what I found is the reason I love the prongs, even when we're doing the little pups, is because these tiny little bumps get lots of results. It does not take very much force at all. We're not trying to get the dogs to yelp. We just want them to know if you nip and bite when I tell you to leave it, something uncomfortable is going to happen. So that's why we use the prongs. And having a lead, a lot of times if they're getting really nippy, if you try to reach in and just grab the collar itself when they're already really nippy and you don't have a lead on them, a lot of times they start turning and biting you. Right now, if they're young like this, they're usually not creating enough force to actually cause injury, but it ain't comfortable. They have little hypodermic needle teeth, and sometimes you'll get punctures. A lot of times you'll get scratches. I've got scratches and punctures all over my arms from doing various different things with the dogs. So I recommend a lead. It allows you to have a little bit of distance. I'm sitting on this just so I can not worry too much if he decides to jump down, but it allows you to have some distance to pop at a distance. Now you're gonna see my pops are very, very light. I'm not gonna be using very much force with this guy because he's still really small and we wanna take care of our little puppies. All right, so, but what we do when I'm introducing this is I will actually incite them to start getting nippy. I'll play with them and I'll get them to start trying to be nippy, and then I'll tell them leave it. Now sometimes he may leave it right off the bat because we've already been doing this exercise. He may not, and if he doesn't, then I'm gonna correct. So let's see what we can do here. Hey, what you doing, buddy? What you doing? Huh? So you see as I start playing with him how he wants to start playing back, right? And I can put my hand out here and he bites my hand. Now I say, leave it. And he leaves it. Now part of that was there was a noise over there, he got a little distracted. So now let me show you the actual exercise. So we incite the play, we get him going, he bites, leave it. pop, leave it, good, leave it, good, leave it. Very, very light pop. This is going to be a protection dog one day. He's already started his bite work, so I don't want to be overly harsh when I correct for him biting, because a lot of times I'm going to be wanting him to bite, right? So right now we're in the process of bringing that out, but he still, even in this situation, needs to not put his teeth on if I tell him to leave it. So he starts out, I go, leave it, good, leave it, good, leave it. Now, that gets them to stop biting when they're already got their teeth on. What we often do then is we then begin to be proactive. So if I want to come up and pet him, and I can see he's a little rambunctious and he looks like he might want to, nip or bite, or I go to pet him and he kind of lunges and nips a little bit, but he doesn't get me yet, I can go, leave it, and then I can come in and I can pet on him and tell him, good, leave it, good, leave it. And then that way I'm introducing it before it happens, but I want to make sure he understands what leave it means. So that's why we incite, we get him going. Oh, you want to play? You want to play? You want to play? Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's got me. He's so vicious. All right, that's enough. Leave it. Good, leave it. Good, leave it. Okay, so that's how we do it there with playing, and in just a second we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how we do it with a toy. But if you've liked this content so far, please remember to click the like button below, click the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to our channels, and don't forget the little bell next to the subscribe so you can get notifications of all of our weekly training videos that will be coming out in the future. And then also, make sure you share this video with somebody that you think would benefit, or with a friend. Let them know that this content is out there so that they can benefit from it as well. All right, so I'm gonna go get a toy and we're gonna do this with leave it with a toy. Okay, so now we've shown you leave it with playing a little bit. Toys also become another big one. Now, we don't allow this from the time they're this age. You see he's already interested in it, but we don't allow toy aggression in our dogs from the time they're pups, so we rarely have issues with that when they're adults, but I have a lot of clients who ask about that. How do I stop my dog from being aggressive over toys? Well, the way you stop them from being aggressive over toys is you set them up for failure so that you can correct. If you don't do this, what happens is you're not ready to correct when they have the issue, and then the issue just continues to perpetuate. So you have to set the problem up oftentimes so that you can then correct for it. So if you have a larger dog who's being toy aggressive, you may actually need a second person to step in and actually do the corrections while one person is doing the play. Or you may, a lot of times they're not aggressive if a person does it, but they're aggressive if another dog comes and grabs their toys, in which case then you would set that situation up, and if necessary you may have somebody else who can pull that dog away should they start getting intense when you're doing the correction for your dog. However, if you still have a young dog or a puppy, ideally you'll start doing these kinds of exercises with them early on so that you don't have those sorts of issues when they are bigger. But if you do need more help with this sort of thing, we cover a lot of discipline and control issues, as well as working from no obedience all the way up through off-lead obedience in our Canine Academy Online. You can check out more information on that at canineacademyonline.com. So here's how we use toys when we are doing our leave it commands. So again, I'm going to make sure that my lead is not under their legs, that the collar's kind of turned so that I'm in general, it's not twisting around their neck if I'm giving them a little bump. And then I'm just going to set them up to start playing. Oh, you want it? Do you want it? Yeah, get it. Oh, good, get it. Good, get it. Leave it. Good, leave it. Good, leave it. Now again, he's done these exercises a decent amount, so he's getting into that pretty quickly. But if he didn't leave it, right there what I would have done is just give a little bump and say, fooey that, leave it. Whatever your verbal correction word is, ours is fooey that, or fooey it, or it's actually fooey and we just throw that or it on as appropriate. And then when they leave it, you praise them. So let's see if we can get him going again. Remember, he's kind of tired. He's been out here running around in the sun all day in Florida. It's starting to cool off just a little bit for us, but not a lot of it. You want it? You want it? You want it? Yeah. Get it. Oh. What you doing? Oh, he's got it. Oh, what you doing? Oh, is Raven gonna play? You gonna get it with Raven? Come on. Get it. Yeah. Oh, good, get it. Good, get it. Oh, look at you guys go. Good, get it. All right, leave it. Good, leave it. Leave it. Good, leave it. Good, leave it. And you see the older dog who likes to do the tug game? You want it? You want it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, get it, get it, get it, get it. Oh, good, get it, good, get it. Oh, good, get it, good, get it. Atta girl. Good, get it, good, get it. Leave it. Free that, leave it. Good, leave it. And because we do these exercises with them, they all respond fairly quickly when we tell them to leave it. The more excited you get them, sometimes you have to give them a little, hey, knock that off. I said leave it, because they're all amped up and they want to play. So this is how we do leave it with a toy. So we've showed you leave it with the nipping, we've showed you leave it with the toy. How do you react, or how do you correct when they're going after children? Well, first you need to introduce the command, just like we've showed you today, on how to leave it in the first place, and then they'll understand what you mean when you tell them to leave it with the children. So then what I do, we have 10 children between me and my wife. Me and my first wife had 8 kids together, got a divorce, and my second wife has 2 of her own. So we can have up to 8 to 10 kids in the house at one time, depending on what's going on. And so we will get the dog ready, meaning I'll make sure his little prong collar's on, I'll make sure the lead is on, I'll tell him to lay down in front of the couch, and I will literally tell the children to run past him. Again, we're setting him up for these situations, right? Because the children running past them when they're laying somewhere doing something is typically what gets them all amped up, all excited, and that's when they tend to lunge out and nip. And even though they're playing, a lot of times these nips can break the skin, can cause discomfort, the kids cry, they don't want to be around the dogs anymore, they're scared of the dogs, whatever the situation creates. Turn around, little guy. So what I do is I'll put him on the floor, and usually I'll do it just like this. So assume I'm sitting on a couch here. Off, right here. Good off, good off, good off. So I'll put him on the floor. I typically will take the lead, and when I'm introducing lay down at the couch, I will tell him to lay down. I'll put my foot on the lead, just like this, where it's not tight. See how he can get up? But if he does get up, it goes tight. He doesn't have a lot of room to spare. And then once he's laying down and not moving too much, I'll kind of move my foot off of it, and I'll tell the children to run by. When they run by, if he lunges out, the harder he lunges, the harder the correction he gets. So if it's just a little, then it's just a little tiny bump. If he actually gets up and like runs after and tries to lunge after them, I usually let his own body momentum create the correction, and I just kind of hold the lead, and then he just goes into the end of the lead. But it's on his prong, so he gets a correction out of it, and I tell him, knock that off, leave it alone. And then we do this until he stops lunging after them when they run past, and then each time they run past and he doesn't lunge, I tell him, good, leave it. If he gets up out of his place, I'll bring it back and I'll tell him, Plutz. Nope, he's trying to get in the shade right now. Plutz. Good, Plutz. So I just gently step on the lead, good, Plutz. Then we have the children run by him. If he gets up, I tell him, Fuye, Plutz. Good, Plutz. If he lunges, he gets a little pop. If he nips or moves his mouth out towards him, he gets a little pop. And he's learning place, he's learning lay down, and he's learning leave it all at the same time during this exercise. And I'm relaxing watching TV. It doesn't take a lot of energy. Once he stops lunging after them, when they do that, I usually have some of my older kids come up and start kind of playing around like I was doing earlier, getting him excited, only I'm telling him to leave it while they're doing the playing, and then he gets little bumps for that. So that's kind of the progression. We start with our hands, move to the toys, move to the children running, and then move to the children intentionally trying to get him to come out and play while I'm telling him leave it. Going back up here, big guy. So I hope this has been helpful to you. If you like this content and you would like more like it, you can follow us over on Facebook at Fortress Canine Dogs for our trained dogs that we sell. And for the dog training aspect, you can follow us at Canine Academy Online. And then over on Instagram, you can follow both of my companies over there at Fortress Canine over on Instagram and at Canine Academy Online. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I will see you guys next week.